On today's episode, we welcome back longtime friend and Nostalgia Test podcast all-star Steve Herrera to put the 1994 American comedy film Airheads to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test. Rebel Radio's going soft? Welcome to the Nostalgia Test podcast, the show where two longtime friends put their mainstream pop culture past to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test. We are here, everybody. Welcome to the Nostalgia Test podcast. I'm Dan Dissinger here in LA, and I'm here with my co-host, Manny Coelho. They're in New York. Manny, how are you doing?
Yay. All right. No, I'm good, man. I'm excited. We have our biggest fan and always a great special guest today. Steve is here. Right. I will say, I think we got to stop texting each other when we're setting up for these episodes because of the text, or we got to start posting the texts because
the text
we should. Last 3 days have been
fire.
Crazy. Because of this damn movie that nobody voted for this.
I think we all hated each other.
Wait, this is not, no. Wait.
We didn't ask for this.
We didn't ask for this, but
did we ask for any of this? We never asked for any of this.
Okay.
It just is bestowed upon us, and we have to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Steve. If this is the first time you're hearing the Nostalgia Test podcast, that is our longtime friend, Steve Herrera there in Maryland.
I'd like to take back biggest fan. I'm not a fan of you guys.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Well, yeah, he kind of stopped listening, I think.
Yeah. 106 episodes.
I'm just reading books now.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan. I started this show, and, I'm going to see it through.
Wow.
Well, everyone, if this is your first time, this is the Nostalgia Test podcast where we put our pop culture to the test and see if it's still good, just nostalgic, or Three Musketeers bad. I mean, this and today we have a movie that came out in 1994, and the Green Day episode is already out. This movie Airheads came out when Dookie came out in 1994. Pulp Fiction came out in 1994. The Rangers won the Stanley Cup in 1994, and Adam Sandler, Brendan Fraser, and Steve Buscemi all starred in the comedy Airheads in 1994. And boy, oh boy, this was a journey.
A lot of things happened in 94. Can we take a break for a second?
Yeah.
If you're thirsty and looking for some great craft beer, don't forget to stop by Lithology Brewing Company, Farmingdale, New York, 211A Main Street. If you don't like beer and you have friends that aren't into beer, or maybe you just can't have gluten, we do have wine and spirits as well. Thanks. This is a message from Lithology Brewing Company.
Shameless plugs.
There's your drop, Dan.
Okay. All right. One day I'm going to get back.
You know why I did that?
Why?
It's all about the plugs in this movie. This movie had so much.
Shameless plugs.
So much freaking hidden advertisements that not hidden. It was blatant advertisements for Doritos, Onions.
Yeah.
Basically, Kramer was hired.
Oh boy.
The actor, who plays Kramer, was hired to act like Kramer and just advertise for food companies. Because his role was ridiculous.
Homie was scavenging, man. He was just like, crawling through vents, eating whatever.
Yeah.
He was in a totally different movie. It was almost like everyone ignored that he was even around, and they were just like, Michael Richards, just
I remember him like being a bigger part of it. But then whenever he watched it, I'm like, oh yeah, he's in this.
And what part of the building is he in when he's in that air vent?
The Die Hard part.
Crawling around the vents.
It's the Die Hard part. When you said that, I cracked up. I was like, you're right.
What's with 90s movies and vents? That was vents. I think vents peaked in the 90s.
Huge.
They loved the
Die Hard.
They loved the cinematographers were like, this looks great.
Jurassic Park. They were an event in that one.
Yeah.
Die Hard, as we said.
I would love to see the blueprint of this building, because he was just crawling around forever.
Yeah,
And
how did
you're
he get
telling
like
me
up
they didn't
levels?
hear him?
Are there ladders in the vents? Like, does he have like Spider-Man fingers? What do
And
we
he
know about
falls
this guy?
through one of the times.
Yeah.
He gets blown through one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
Like a fucking jet engine.
Yeah. Boy
It's
gets
just an AC,
set on
folks.
fire.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just a little vent that shoots AC throughout this little studio. Studio's not that big. The studio's not that big.
No.
Well, first of all,
Can we start? Are we starting? We're just jumping in.
Yeah.
well,
just like
I
the
want
movie.
to. Can I just put a
We
little
can
no
jump
sense.
all over.
just a little bit here? Airheads. Let's just a
Airheads.
little bit of facts. Here.
Facts.
First,
And the
Facts
facts.
on this
Airheads.
movie, it sucked.
It's
Go
a
ahead.
1994 comedy directed by Michael Lehman, who he directed Heathers, which we should do Heathers. He directed Heathers. Okay. So Michael Lehman, and written by Rich Wilkes. It stars Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler as the members of a struggling rock band who hijack a Los Angeles radio station in order to get their demo aired. The supporting cast includes, and this is where, to me,
Everybody possible in the
everyone:
90s
Chris
was in this
Farley,
movie.
Michael McKean, Judd Nelson, Michael Richards, Joe Mantegna, Ernie Hudson,
Yeah.
okay?
Joe Mantegna? You know Joe
Joe
Montana?
Mantegna,
Jamatingi.
Okay.
David Arquette, Amy Locan, Nina Samasco, Marshall Bell, Reg E, Kathy, and a bunch of other people that were in it. Lemmy from God, what's the name of the band? I keep forgetting. Motorhead. Now the budget was 11.2 million and it made 5.8 million domestic. So
Ooh.
yeah.
I thought it was a bigger movie than that. Like, I swear I thought this was like a
Steve,
popular.
I totally agree with you. Like, in my head, I was like,
Wasn't this huge?
the movie's going to be great. This movie is going to be
Dude,
great.
I mean, Harold Ramis was in it.
I mean, dude, everybody that was in it were they huge then? Were they building up?
Okay,
It's
let me.
94.
I'm going to
Was
tell
this
you right
pre
now.
or post Encino Man Frasier?
Okay,
Pre or
it's
post Encino Man?
post and Encino Man. Here's what you got. You have Encino Man comes in 1992. Then he has a bunch of other stuff, School Ties, $20, whatever. Then
School Ties was good.
Brendan Fraser has an uncredited role in Son-in-Law. Then he's in With Honors, and then Airheads. Airheads with
Harvard
Honors,
bum.
In the Army Now, The Scout. All those movies came out in 1994 for Brendan Fraser.
Damn. Yeah, he was killing it.
He was in the Army now.
I guess so. Which that movie I saw that, and I don't know about that.
Wait, isn't that the movie with Pauly Shore?
Yep.
Pauly Shore was killing it too.
Sure.
Then
He was.
he was.
He was in a lot
They
of
should have
things.
put him in this movie. It would have been
Dude,
better
Steve Buscemi.
because it would have been a Pauly
He
Shore.
could have been
movie.
Pip. He could have been Pip.
He could have been Pip.
Yeah, you're right. But like, you know what? Like, but anyway, like Pauly Shore.
Maybe he
Pauly
was
Shore.
casted to be in this movie, and he opted out or something. Like
Whoever
They gave
opted
it to
out of
Adam
this
Sandler.
film did a big favor for
because
themselves.
Pauly Shore, this seemed like it was meant for that duo because
Mm.
they were killing it in the 90s, and you kind of knew that was the vibe of the movie. Like, oh, overacting or terrible. I won't even say overacting, like terrible acting.
Bro.
Terrible. The opening scene is fucking terrible.
Was that when he goes to Palantine?
Yeah.
He goes to the record company? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
back.
First of all,
Back.
the trope of like long hair, motorcycle,
Yeah,
rock
metal.
star, that shit right in the beginning.
Yeah,
I was like, what am I doing?
LA in the 90s, baby.
yeah.
Why
Yeah.
would he do the same disguise? Is what I want to know. Like, it didn't work the first time.
Because he's a
You know what I'm
fucking airhead. This should have been called Clueless 2.
Well, no, wait. They didn't go. Whoa. Clueless.
Because
throwing it
Clueless
on
is better and the sequel is terrible. So this is the sequel.
This is
Wait,
what I'll
Clueless
say.
had a sequel?
No. Yeah,
Oh.
it's called Airheads.
Okay.
Dude, Airheads, they weren't dumb enough. That's the problem.
Dude, they were definitely dumb. They go to
No.
a building without any plan.
Okay,
They're like,
yes,
oh,
but but they weren't like dumb. Like Pauly Shore. I keep calling Adam Sandler Pauly Shore. Adam Sandler was playing dumb. He was dumb.
Yeah.
They should have all been as close to as stupid as him. But
all of them.
yeah, Because then why is it Airheads? You should just call it Metalheads.
I thought it should have been called Metalheads. Airheads, I didn't understand what that was all about.
Well, maybe because air, like they wanted airplay, like
radio.
I thought it was just like trying to say,
Shut
like,
the
oh,
fuck
they're
up.
like,
If that's why
Airheads.
I'm so pissed off. If that's why
So,
they wanted to be on the air.
Oh my god, you can't make this movie now. Well,
dude, just in the beginning with those,
you can't make it because terrestrial radio is just dead. I was thinking, so that was one of the things I was thinking about when watching it. Like that was the heyday of the DJ. You know, was like shock jock. You know, Stern was.
Yeah, I was thinking about, you know, in this world, Stern didn't exist, I guess, and neither did Beavis and Butthead.
Well, they do call in.
Right.
They call in, but they don't exist though, because they don't recognize.
Yeah.
They don't recognize that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so MTV isn't a thing.
It just seems like it's, well, no, he said there is an MTV reference at some point.
They do at the end.
MTV. Yeah.
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 But
so then Beavis and Butthead aren't on a show yet.
No, Beavis and Butthead aren't on a show. It seems.
And they reference Lemmy, but then they don't point him out when he's in the crowd cheering them on.
Not at all. Not at all. No, this movie.
It's all over the place, just like this podcast is at all times.
Well, do you remember seeing this for the first time? Let's start.
I kind of do. And I kind of remember seeing it on TV a lot too, because I remember the cuts to commercials at the certain parts of the movie. Like I remember when there were certain parts of the movie would happen, I'd be like, oh, that's when they would cut to commercial. I don't know why I would remember that. I guess I saw it on TV a lot. I don't know how.
Bro,
how did we watch movies back then? I sat down on my couch. I spoke into my remote. I said, Airheads. And I was watching it 30 seconds later. How did that make sense? That's today, right? How did we watch movies back then? I don't remember.
You just sat on the couch.
If you had HBO, they had better movies back then. And this probably was on there. And they would repeat movies constantly. Like it would be like a month long of a movie. Thing.
Yeah, it would be on repeat. Yeah, that's right.
Right. So you'd be like, oh, it's you know, the Airheads month. So you're watching this every, you know, few hours.
That's right. They had like a featured movie every month.
Mm-hmm.
They would play.
So so here's the thing. I remember the same thing, Steve. I was like, this movie was good, right? It's star packed, like jam packed with cameos, and I remember all the scenes and like, oh, it was great. I can't wait to watch this. And then like I was like, right off the bat, when they were like in this studio and like the Dr. Seuss people like came in and they were like, I was like, what is this freaking movie? And then when he's sitting in his house, apartment, and the girlfriend comes in, and the scene between those two, I was like,
that was like Shakespeare.
I can't watch the rest of this movie.
You can't write it. It's so good. Dude, what? It's just like they were having a normal conversation, and then like what? It just explodes. And who tosses all that shit out of an apartment window? Like some of that was
LA. No, that's LA. Okay. That's LA. People just throw their shit on the street.
Wow. Wow.
But dude, I was like looking at that and I was like, she walks in, she's like, I've had a horrible day, blah, blah, blah. She starts taking her dress off and I was like, what? It's like, she didn't take her shoes off yet.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, whew, hard day at work. Right. This guy's shirtless watching, I don't know what he's watching.
I think he's watching like MTV or something.
It looked like he was watching a movie.
He wasn't watching Butthead, Beavis and Butthead.
No. Well, the word butthead and butt munch and
so many butts,
butt something. This is pirate. The problem. This movie should have been rated R. That's its dilemma. The dilemma is it's a PG-13 and it should have been an R.
Well, bro, they were probably trying to get it PG-13 so people would actually come and watch this because it's a silly movie. It's like a paycheck. It's a blank check. It's freaking. What's that one where what's his name turns blue?
What?
What's the guy's character? What's his name? He plays in Billions shit.
So
I don't remember his name. He was in Cinderella Man. He was the manager.
No idea, bro.
Steve Boot.
Blue.
Not Steve Buscemi.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was this guy. He's a sleazeball, and the kids throw him in the pool, and he turns blue. It was another movie.
Talking about a fever dream over here.
I don't know.
Derailing the podcast.
And it
Derailed
it. No, I didn't derail it.
Do you still have drops? We
All
need a
these
drop
movies
here.
are just like silly movies for like 13-year-olds. And that's maybe why we thought this was funny.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. I remember as a 13-year-old thinking this movie was rad as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Uh-huh.
These guys were so cool, and Pip was hilarious, and
Yeah.
that's what was happening in my 13-year-old brain.
Oh, so according to trivia, John Cusack was the first choice to play Chaz.
Whoa,
That would have been weird.
different movie.
Totally different movie.
Whole different movie.
I think
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser was the right choice
100%.
for that dumb role. I mean, he had to play the serious. He was the most serious character, right?
Bro, and he had
I mean,
some
I
of
guess.
the
Sure.
dumbest lines.
And
ever.
movements and actions. Dumb.
I mean, it was just horrible. His lines were just bad. And like I just felt like I felt bad for him. That I felt bad for Brendan Fraser. You know what I mean? Like, and it just was like, this shouldn't be happening to him. Like in Encino Man, he had whatever lines he had there, and then they gave him lines, and these are the lines he got. He was in with honors before this or after, like in this. I mean, then he does this.
Paul Giamatti.
Oh, okay, Paul Giamatti.
He turns blue in a movie. What movie was that?
Still have no idea.
Are we still talking about this? Is this a podcast now?
Sir.
I love me
Big
some
Fat
Paul
Liar. Big Fat
You're
Liar.
making all
2002.
of this up.
He turns blue in the movie.
Right.
Anyways, silly movies like that. Sorry. Yes, Brendan Fraser. He's always silly though. He's always been. I liked him in the 90s, and then all of a sudden, like something happened. He kind of disappeared. He came back in the movie The Whale recently. Yeah. I thought he was good. He played in Mummy. I thought he was great. Like
he was the mummy
that
guy,
certain
yeah.
character. But I think this movie was made for 13-year-olds.
No,
It was.
Like you're saying, it was rated R.
It should have been like they could have gone either way with it. They could have gone like rated R and made it crazy, bunch of cussing and titties and stuff dangling about. But they're like, no, we got to make this for the kids. Let's get Beavis and Butthead in here.
I mean, I guess like because you got to like play to the kids who thought they were like grunge and
they kept playing to the
heavy metal
MTV generation and stuff, and like that was a thing back in '94,
right?
You know.
Yeah, dude. But how many like references were brought up and words that are no longer used anymore? And
you cannot use these words.
Like,
it's spaz.
Yeah,
they did say spaz.
That's horrifying. Like the fact that they even like when I was watching, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh God. Oh wow. The Confederate flag everywhere.
Oh God, what was that?
And like the majority of the film.
The Rebel radio, they had to put a Confederate flag on.
You're in LA.
Yeah.
Like it was just
I guess
because
they're considered like rebels. The radio station was rebels and
great. Then call it if you're gonna put a Confederate flag in it, then you might as well just call it traitor radio. I mean, rebel is like totally different. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, I mean,
give me a break.
I mean, back then though, like no one thought about it that way. And then what about the scene with they take the ATM card and they put it in?
What the fuck was that?
That's so weird.
Like, why did they think that was gonna work?
And that's the thing, they didn't do it.
Like, that's why. Like, they're dumb. They're dumb. Like,
but they're doing it with confidence. Steve Buscemi can't play an airhead. Every time I see him, I think he's going to shoot somebody. Like he was doing, like I said on the texter, like he was doing an impersonation of Mr. Pink in Airheads.
Yeah,
like from Reservoir Dogs.
He was very aggressive. Yeah,
I thought he was just going to start killing people at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. No. When they were like put your card in because you have a bank card, I was like. Wait, they actually think this is going to work. He puts on his password. It gets caught. And then, like, I love when Steve Buscemi's character wants to short circuit it. And so he, like, just, like, puts Coke on it, which is a 7-Eleven Big Gulp. Like, another product placement.
Yeah.
Dude, freaking product placements. This is why I called Dan. I texted Dan. This is like a bootleg Wayne's World.
I hate that movie.
It's like Wayne's World for 13-year-olds.
Dude, I feel bad.
When Wayne's World was for like 20-year-olds when it came out, this was for freaking 13-year-olds.
That movie was ridiculous too.
I still think Wayne's World is better than this, and it probably holds up more, right?
Okay, Wayne's
I
World
agree.
was better than Airheads. I'm not going to disagree with that, but I'm not going to agree with the fact that Wayne's World was better than Bill and Ted. I'm watching Bill and Ted way before Wayne's World. 100%.
Really?
Every time. Every time. At least I know what's going on in Bill and Ted. Like I'm watching Wayne's World, I don't even know what's happening. They live in a biodome.
I mean, were these Airhead characters from SNL? No, they just it came out of nowhere.
No, and Adam Sandler.
No, and this production company has put out some really good movies too.
Sure.
What?
It's no longer a lot. It's no longer the producers of this. It closed down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not because I was looking into it. I'm like, is this a Happy Gilmore production? Because it almost seemed like Adam Sandler kicked off all the rest of his movies based on this kind of silliness movie.
Well, Billy Madison came out in 1995. So Airheads comes out in 94. Then Billy Madison, 1995. Happy Gilmore, 1996.
There you go.
Wedding Singer, 1998.
Yep.
Waterboy, 1998. Big Daddy, 1999.
There's a lot of his crew that shows up in all the movies were in this. The guy who was in Grandma's Boy.
Dude.
Yeah, wasn't he the cop? The cop who
Yes.
Adam Sandler did the little dance to? That was him,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
Grandma's Boy?
that was him.
Yeah, thought so.
And then there's a couple other guys that, and Steve Buscemi shows up in all his movies.
This is the first time they were in a movie together.
I was telling you, this kicked off Adam Sandler's
It did.
this is the crew that I'm going to hang out with, and we're going to make silly movies like this. But for some reason, I know we could argue some people don't think he's talented. I would much rather watch other Adam Sandler movies than this movie ever again.
Okay, well
produced Adam Sandler.
I don't know. Like, see, this is the thing. I'm not going to be definitively.
Do you guys not think he's funny?
Well,
I think he's hilarious. I think he had two good movies and then rode that train.
Okay,
sure.
But which movies were those?
What are the two good movies?
The first two.
Billy Madison, you have to rewatch. That might not be as funny as you think.
I mean,
Happy Gilmore, I'll give you.
Happy Gilmore was great. Yeah. R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
Yes.
R.I.P. Chubbs.
Happy Gilmore was great.
Billy Madison, yeah, that was really stupid and goofy, but that's what I liked about it. It probably, I don't know if it holds up.
We have to do Billy Madison because I want to know what you think. When's the last time you watched it, Steve?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Exactly. So this is the thing we need. Because how many times
you watched
you're
it
going to want to see that joke? It's like, shampoo is better. Are you going to
conditioner makes it nice and smooth?
I don't know, man. That's right up my alley. That's some classic Sandler right there. That's what he does.
I would watch Happy Gilmore and oh God, I don't know. Maybe
see, Happy Gilmore is when he started with that underdog character like that.
Yeah.
The guy who's like, I don't know, super talented, but also like just he's got the odds against him, but he always like pulls through and just it's at the end. Whereas, well, I guess Billy Madison was kind of the same way, but that character was so stupid, and you never thought he was like good at anything.
And then he wins because of privilege,
basically. Yeah. So it's more of an accurate portrayal of real life, which is.
Well, that's this movie. I texted Manny yesterday while I was watching it. I'm like, Airheads is the movie, is like white privilege the movie, because these guys hold up a movie, a radio station with fake guns. Then every time they go outside, nothing happens to them.
He points the Uzi directly at the police.
He points a gun at the police officer. Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. And guess who does get manhandled?
Marcus.
The black guy. Yes. He was running for his life. They tackle him. Put a gun to his head.
Yeah. I mean, that was obviously put in there as the joke.
Come on.
Right. Well, because like he even said, like, they had him dressed up like, in his African wear. And they needed him to be like against the white guy. And then
the only black guy in the movie was this like archetype of like an angry black man. Like, come on.
Yeah. Super.
Come on, 90s.
Super horrifying.
Dude, this 90s. Was the production
do better
called,
90s.
Do better 90s.
Do better. The production company was called Island World, and they did Sandlot, Airheads, Juice, The Cure, Toy Soldiers, The War, Strictly Business, American Heart, Law of Gravity, Amongst
I
Friends.
don't know
Watch it.
90% of these.
Yeah, I mean,
it goes off the
Sandlot was
rail.
phenomenal.
Yes, the Sandlot
Sandlot
was good.
passes.
Toy Soldiers,
That was
Haven't seen that in a very long time.
haven't seen that in forever.
That's probably there's probably some iffy stuff on that one.
Strictly
Whole
Business
terrorist
is
thing.
probably what
Definitely white people playing Middle Eastern people in that movie. For sure.
yeah. So
Dude,
they went out of business though. So
Marcus has the best line. There are two funny lines in this movie, I think. Marcus has one of them. When Adam Sandler's talking to him, when he's like telling him to fix the machine, he's like, when he's talking to him, and then Adam Sandler's trying to be like, "Hey man, Hendrix was God" and stuff, and then Marcus looks at him and he goes, "You want to step back? You're standing on my dick." Right in his face. I was like, okay, like there's a joke. There's a joke in there, but then the rest of the movie, I'm waiting for another joke.
Yeah, there were
a whispered line.
They had a lot of lines that I think they thought were killer. And maybe were like okay back when the movie came out, but like now it's just
Would a
lot of
DJ
it was
be calling
cringe.
people names like while they're on the air, like when he's like, "Hey pinheads, I'm back."
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, Pinhead.
Well, that's what I'm saying about like
they would have. That was like the shock jock era.
yeah, exactly. That was the height. DJs were killing it in the 90s.
Yeah.
Playing it.
Another production company of this movie did do the following. Ready? Robert Simmons production. Happy Gilmore, The Water Boy, The Wedding Singer, Little Nicky,
Shit.
Billy Madison, Cheaper by the Dozen, The Edge of 17, Airheads, The Pink Panther, The Means War, Joe Dirt, Half Baked,
Joe Dirt,
Just Married, Taxi. So yeah, they started making.
All right, that's solid. That's a solid
That's
list.
solid.
They
Except
definitely
for Waterboy and Billy Madison and Wedding Singer.
Wow.
Those three. Dude, come on.
You
Have
guys
seen
did Wedding Singer, right? You guys
It was
did a
Yeah, we did not think it.
There were no jokes.
The soundtrack was phenomenal. Nothing else about that movie was
The
good.
funniest parts of that movie was his best friend, the limo driver, and it's the guy that married his sister from fucking Goodfellas, who kept having these weird lines, or he's like, "I said something. I don't know what I said, but I said something." And then those were the jokes. Everything else, like the meatball joke, there was no joke.
Memorable. But what about? Do you remember this scene when Chris Farley is looking for the girlfriend? That's the best thing too. They're like, go find her, and he just has to go to all these different bars.
I mean, Farley was like the shining star of this whole.
Oh yeah.
The only time I wasn't cringing was when I got to see.
And
Farley.
then he pulls the nipple ring. I remember that scene.
Oh yeah.
So when it like comes up, I'm like, oh shit, this is the scene.
Yeah.
I forgot it was from this movie.
What was with the guy
from Wayne's World.
chomping the badge? Like, come on.
That was weird.
Like, what was supernatural? Like, he's supposed to be something like.
And they couldn't film it, so they had to film it from the back. They was like, "You can't do this. We don't have enough money."
Dozen other things to make that guy seem like a tough guy.
Yeah.
Made him like do something that's impossible.
Would be absolutely
even this movie should have been over in like
cracked all of his teeth.
This movie should have been over in many times, but
that's the thing, because like
part was like, when Adam Sandler goes outside and like he's going to check to see what's going on, and there's only one cop car. Cop doesn't say freeze, doesn't say a word. They do some like shadow dancing. Adam Sandler does this thing, and then he runs inside. I'm like, movie would have been over. The cop could have just walked in. Like, what are we doing here?
What is that?
Yeah, why would the cop not go in?
First of all, my favorite part was when they went like this. They're like, "How did they know we were here? You were on the air." Like he like, you know what I mean?
They didn't know that.
But see, that's what I'm saying.
These people have no sense of anything.
But they weren't delivering those lines dumb enough. Like, you know what I mean?
So that's your whole take on it. That's your theory, is this movie would have been better if they played dumber.
So if David Arquette was Chaz, okay, Adam Sandler, David Arquette, and then we got to replace Steve Buscemi with someone.
Steve Buscemi has to be out of this movie.
Then Stephen Baldwin or Pauly Shore. Like, now you have three people who can play really stupid. Like, because Biodome, that works, right?
Okay.
Don't know if I want to rewatch that film. Probably gonna have to. But you have Pauly Shore, Stephen Baldwin, and let's say David Arquette, and then you get rid of Adam Sandler, or you keep him or whatever, right? Now you have 3 or 4 guys who are dumb. But Brendan Fraser and Steve Buscemi aren't really stupid. They're just like ambivalent. Yeah. Like they just they it's weird.
Yeah. What about when Adam Sandler goes, why don't black people like me? Why is that a line?
Why is that a line? And is that a joke? That would be a joke.
And that the only other black
like me.
The only other black actress in it she was like, her character was like just the nice, sweet, kind of like aloof sort of. It's like, come on.
Oh, there was one other black actor in it. He was the cop. He was
Ernie Hudson.
He was like, I almost was thinking Ghostbusters was about to show up because there's 2 of them show up because what's his name is
Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis pretends to be like a sleazy manager.
But why is he even in this film? What was the point?
They blew the budget on the cameos.
They
Harold
really
Ramis is in this movie because he's probably had to do with something with the production. Guaranteed.
Like what?
He was probably behind it. So maybe was he part of 20th Century Fox?
I thought it was what's it called? The SNL guy. I thought it was Lorne Michaels because of Farley and Adam Sandler, but it was not.
You never know. Like, there's got to be a reason why he cameoed in it. You know.
First of all, I want to shout out Michelle Hurst, who played Yvonne in Airheads, the character that Adam Sandler walked up to and asked, like, why don't black people like me? She was amazing. Her facial expressions, everything she did.
She was great.
That scene funny. Adam Sandler made it awkward, and awkward in a bad way. Where I'm just like, why is this even in this? Was this improvised? Did they write this? Like, did this guy write that line? Do you know what I mean? Like the writer
really got to dig into Pip's background here. Let's
Rich Wilkes, who wrote this movie, also wrote.
He hooked up a lot. The Lone Rangers.
He wrote Triple X. The guy who wrote this, he wrote Triple X, Beer Money, The Jerky Boys, Airheads, and before Airheads, he wrote The Stoned Age.
He also wrote The Dirt that came out a few years ago.
Chaz was like, we got to send one person out. Pip's like, I'll go.
I mean, and you're telling me there were moments in this movie where if you didn't see this movie, I don't know, don't. But like they're carrying plastic guns because Steve Buscemi works at a toy store. Would they allow this man to be around anybody? I mean, he looks like a psychopath, and he's playing his character from Armageddon as well. Like he is just this character who's just in things, and then they take these plastic guns like water pistols, which I had one like that the one that they used,
look
like
real?
the Uzi looking one when I was a kid. I had that exact water gun. Now, but at certain points they're like, the acting with it was hilarious because you knew they were plastic. Like you could tell, like just by the way they were handling.
Yeah,
they would just throw it on a table and it would make the sound like it was like clanking. No, not metal. It was like it was just like, people, that's plastic. You can see it's plastic. Like it just.
One of my favorite scenes was when the gun broke and then Marcus was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
It's just like,
why would David Arquette run out like and then try to come back
and
in?
then he
like,
wanted to come back in and then like they like all of it was ridiculous. They got all their demands. Like these people, it was only 6 hostages, and I'm not saying like only like,
what are you saying? Like, let's go with that.
I'm just saying like it's this thing like blew up out of proportions, and it's like these cops are getting everything they
get
wanted.
that stage flown in.
Dude, a fucking stage
like their Metalocalypse
looking CGI helicopter.
Yeah, like it's Death Clock, like the Metalocalypse, like it's dropping a stage, and then they're just like, "Yeah, do this." It's like the end of Empire Records. Like I'm just like, what is happening?
That's what I was gonna say. Is like there was also some Empire Record ish like kind of.
When did Empire Records come out?
Thing in this, And like,
have you done Empire Records? Because that might
No.
and what about like they made fun of like D&D nerds and
1995.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that part.
That-
I was
that
geek
part-
in high school. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah, we
It
all
was-
were, and we're
Everyone
all
was.
still.
Yeah, we still are.
This is what I'm saying. This
Look
was
what we're
geared to
doing.
13-year-olds.
That's why when I was 13, I thought A, that this was the coolest movie ever, and B, I didn't want to be a geek in high school.
Yeah.
That was like so so taboo. How dare you?
I mean, I played Magic the Gathering, so I mean, in middle school,
I didn't want to be a geek.
and I want to play it now. It looks awesome. Post Malone.
I would
plays
play it
Magic.
now. It looks fun.
Dude,
I would totally play it because I've always been a geek.
Dude,
I'm
you know what was
trying-
awkward? There was another awkward quote, like awkward scene when they were talking to fucking what's his face, Judd Nelson, about what's going on, and then he tells him, he's like, "Hey, Vince Neil killed someone and he didn't even go to jail." Like, what-
Yeah.
that was like, holy
Neil
shit.
did 30 days and he
He
killed
did
a guy.
30 days of prohibition and he killed someone. I'm like, yeah, that's horrible. You shouldn't be saying that because like that was terrible. And you know who else that happened to? What's his face? Matthew Broderick also. I see he did the same thing. And it was just like
What?
these weird moments. Yeah, should look it up.
Did Matthew Broderick killed a guy?
Yeah, it was like he in a car crash and then he didn't go to jail.
Jesus.
Whoa. Okay.
Celebrities, man.
But,
They're just out here killing people with cars.
Yeah, but yeah, 1987. There it is. But but those moments were supposed to either land as jokes or land in these ways, and they just didn't. And Judd Nelson, I don't know what he was doing. Like it was like they pulled him in. They were like, "You're Judd Nelson. Put this weird thing on your face, put a suit on, and then you're in this movie." Because like the way he delivered his lines, it was like he didn't even get a chance to read the script.
No.
And he was like reading lines. I was just like, "Come on, man!" Like it was weird.
This was
You're right,
post,
Steve.
he was riding high, right? Like he was like,
Was he in
shit.
Suddenly Susan at that point?
I mean, suddenly Susan. I don't remember that at all. But this was post 80s like Breakfast Club and shit.
Yeah, but that was a while after I thought.
He was like kind of a legend at this point, right?
Sure. They were
and
just
they
like, it
had
was like
a
nostalgic to have him in
Right.
here. Yeah.
And they had a Breakfast Club scene where they were all dancing. Like
Dude,
they
the
had a scene.
montages. Oh my God, I can't.
It was
can't
just,
sometimes.
why is this happening?
So I remember like thinking it was such a party in there. It was so cool and everything. But now looking back, I'm just like, what? None of this would be happening. Like
No.
at all. The
All
concept
of it was
and
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was all ridiculous.
Yeah, Judd Nelson had he was killing it in the 80s. And in 1994,
That
when this
suit
movie
looked
came-
like talking head suit.
it was a bad suit. I think
That's
that
what
was
it looked
they weren't slimming up in the 90s. They were.
So let's
the
talk
soldier
about
pad. The shoulder pad. Soldiers.
Soldier pads.
Soldier boy pads.
So let's talk about this song that they wanted played on the radio.
Oh. My God.
The generator.
The generator. Well, what? Why do they only have 2 copies of this thing?
Johnny can't read. Johnny can't write.
Johnny doesn't know how to
Johnny-
make a recording.
Johnny needs to go back to school.
Why couldn't they just think about playing it live right then and there before like it turned into say like huge thing? You're telling me that the studio doesn't have like guitars hanging around? Like they all couldn't just be like, let's perform this instead.
Yo, this studio was terrible. She throws a chair through the glass and it fries the whole board. How?
How?
What? There's no
Why?
electricity in a chair.
Ugh. No, it shouldn't have done
It would
that.
have broken a couple levers.
It exploded. It exploded.
Exploded the board. Yo, can we talk about that character? What was her name? I forget her name. She was a psycho. I'm sorry.
It was supposed to be
Psycho.
Christina Applegate.
Bipolar.
That was
Kayla.
supposed to be Christina Applegate was supposed to be
Oh.
in that movie. She was supposed to
That
be
makes
Kayla.
sense. This is definitely like a Walmart Christina Applegate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
It looks just like her.
That's the line. That's the fucking line.
No offense, but I mean, come on. They wanted
Oh.
Christina and they got Amy.
Okay.
Get that Confederate flag.
This movie This is why reboots should not happen because this movie was no okay. This actress, she was in a lot of stuff as well. She was in a movie in '98 called Bong Water. She was in The Secretary,
Melrose Place, apparently.
Airheads, Melrose
She
Place
looks like a
before that,
Melrose Place
School
actress.
Ties. All these people were in School Ties. Brendan Fraser. This what's her name? Amy LeCan. And then let's see, Crybaby. Yeah, you know.
Anyway, she played a great
Crazy character.
bipolar person. Like,
Well,
wow.
yeah, she was. I mean, that's what they wanted. They wanted, but the weird thing about this, and this is what was so odd to me about the choice of like her characters, the choice of this. It's weird that in the end they're together. You would think that these two in the end, like you would be like, nah, peace.
That's what I'm saying. Codependent. That was an unhealthy, toxic, codependent relationship.
And she's dancing in the prison with the other.
Well,
girl.
she's in the back. Like she wasn't with him. She was in the back behind the fence.
Yeah, she
No,
had
I
like
know, but like it was like the
Yeah.
Blues Brothers at the end. They stole from every movie. Blues Brothers. I mean, what was the other
Mhm.
movie I said they stole from? It was like
Said Wayne's. Oh, Die Hard.
Hard.
Did you know? Get this.
That was definitely
Dan,
a
you're gonna love
ripoff of
this.
Die Hard for sure.
You're
Yeah.
gonna love this.
Am I?
Yeah. This was filmed at the Fox Plaza, 2120 Avenue of Star Century City, Los Angeles. The building shares a parking lot with no other than Nagatomi Plaza
Shut
in Die Hard.
Oh!
Okay.
What?
Okay. This is it. This movie, if these writers, okay, I want the writer
Wait,
of
when
this
did Die Hard
movie,
come out?
80
Shit, yeah.
86, 87.
So it was like, okay, they said, we'll take Die Hard,
Oh,
we'll take
God.
Encino Man,
I am so
we'll mash
angry
it
right
together with some MTV culture, and
now.
boom.
1988. Wow.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's what they were
Wow.
going for with this movie.
Dude, wait.
This-
I need
This
to
is the second film that Brendan Fraser and Amy,
Yeah.
who plays Kayla, were love interests. The first
they
one
were
was
in-
School Ties.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to do some live fact checks here because I need to know if the writer of this film based this off of Die Hard because it's literally Die Hard. And if he says no, then I think he's lying. Let's see. Airheads Die Hard scenario. That's a fandom.
No, it's not going to be that. It's Wayne's World. No.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
Wayne's
know.
World meets Die Hard meets.
This is
I
the
don't
first film with Steve Buscemi and Adam Sandler. You said that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
already know that 2 Ghostbusters are in it.
And the other great line in this movie came from the other actress who was in it, Nina Samasco. And when they said that when they said, "Oh, the radio station is going soft," and she whispers, "All those blowjobs are nothing." But it's whispered, so you don't hear it. Like that's it. 2 good lines. Marcus, you're stepping on my dick, and all the blowjobs.
the way he like does that line is fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
It's amazing.
Dick, man.
Yeah.
Because he's also talking to himself at the same time when he's like that. That whole exchange is just really great because of him and not.
So
anything else.
is there a reason why? Like, what is Kramer's role in this movie?
He was signing over the station
He
to
was like an accountant.
the
or
rain.
something? Yeah,
he was like
something
some
like that.
I don't know, some sort of lawyer, or
Yeah,
he was.
But
he
this
was
is
finalizing the deal to sign
Kramer.
on.
His role is that it's as if Kramer was there, right? Because like that's how he moves. Like
yeah.
it's
they
almost
hired
like-
him to be like, you need to act like Kramer in this movie.
think that
That's
was-
exactly what they probably
It's as
did.
if
Yeah.
Kramer got a gig in a movie and he had to play this guy.
Yeah.
That's
was
what
probably-
he did.
During the episodes of Seinfeld when he went to LA.
Got it. That's definitely it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know how much more we could continue to stretch this out because I actually
Why?
wanted to
I
end
feel
this
like there's like
episode.
so much more I want to talk about, but at the same time, not.
I
Uh,
told you.
we didn't talk
We
about Joe
killed it.
Montana at
Okay, let's
all.
talk about Joe
So
Montana.
I
Are you
was
talking about the
I love me
FBI
some Joe
guy?
Montana. No,
Yeah,
the DJ.
the radio DJ.
I love me
Oh,
some Joe Montana, but I was so confused by his character because he was supposed to be this like rebel rock, like
Yeah.
rocker, hardcore. But then at one point he talks to Chaz. He's like, "Today's music's terrible. I only listen to classic stuff." It's
Right?
like, wait, what? It's just completely 180'd
Yeah.
your whole thing. What is going on? And then like he just rolls with this like, "Oh, I'm a young hip rocker guy,"
Yeah.
like supporting Chaz
Yeah.
and supporting the band. It's like you were literally just saying like how the kids today don't know real music. Like what's your deal? I didn't get it.
Yeah, and it was so weird to me. And it didn't make sense because I'm like, for him to be the radio DJ, I don't know. You're right, because he was talking about the Beatles and then he's talking about like there's no soul in the music and blah blah blah. But then he's like telling people, I don't know, it was a metal station.
Yeah. Yeah.
So isn't he the
like,
poser?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I was like, he was because I remember watching it thinking like, oh, he's so cool because he's like, on board with it. He's like siding with them because he feels sympathy, like no one gets him, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like you think he'd want the station to turn over to like
Seriously.
easy listening.
Oh man, it was so weird. Have you ever seen Queen's Logic? You should see that with Joe Montana.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. If you classic Montana.
I love him in The Simpsons, and they reference The Simpsons.
They reference The Simpsons. They tell Yvonne that she's going to be home.
Get home in time for The Simpsons.
That's right. Yeah,
that was great.
That was a good line. She probably got arrested when she walked out of the radio station because the
guns pulled on him, for sure.
Oh, okay, we can't not. Okay. There's so much to talk about in terms of Montana, but like he looked wet the entire time as well.
Wet.
He looked, very wet.
Wet. And like, did you remember the scene where he's like drinking a beer and Pepto-Bismol at the same time?
that's only
like,
a
how
movie
stressful
thing.
is his job that he needed? Like, why was it even part of the scene that he was like I didn't need to know that in the back, like his like backstory is that he has like problems with his gut.
Yeah.
Like
nowadays he'd be drinking
again,
like
another product placement. Like they're like, all right, we need somebody
some Pepto-Bismol
to take some Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
Do you know why he needs it? Because they have unheated burritos just hanging around everywhere in the studio.
Dude,
that scene where Brendan Fraser just like looks over, they're not in the kitchen.
No,
they're just at a desk.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he improvised that part where he used the hot sauce and the gun into the burrito.
I was thinking that too when I was watching him. Like that looks like it might have been improvised.
What about when
it also looks cool as hell? One takeaway from
cool
this movie, I would still to this day want to do that to a burrito.
I mean, it is a great move. It's probably a very like natural
automatic
move,
water gun,
right? Like that was like very him not even thinking about it.
You're crazy.
He was probably just looking at it and he's like, "Oh yeah, I would just put hot sauce on this, right?"
Yeah.
Well, you could tell it was definitely impressed because Brendan Fraser and he was probably like, "This is fucking disgusting. It's not heated. I need to put this down."
Yeah,
dude, that
he
scene
just throws it.
He throws it.
That scene reminded me of
made me want a burrito, to be honest.
Yeah, all the scenes in like these 90s movies where they do like that all is lost montage because there's that moment where it's like, oh fuck, we screwed up. And then it's like they might as well be singing like they say misery loves company. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. That song. Frustrated.
Another montage. There were so many.
This is the Rocky IV of the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah. There were those poignant moments with Joe Montana where getting back to like today's music isn't good. Like the classic stuff has soul. And then Brendan Fraser has that like gotcha line where he says, "Come on, do you really think Purple Haze says something?" And like
what
the way
the fuck?
You see Joe Montana's face, he's like, "Oh yeah, he totally schooled me." So like the movie tried to like be serious at times, which is like even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because they actually try to just, and when he's talking about his tattoos, and he's like, the Grim Reaper, because death is always chasing me. It's like, it's so stupid, but they were serious. It was a serious point in the movie. It was a poignant moment.
It's so bad.
And what was with that Grim Reaper tattoo? It was like a robot Grim Reaper.
What?
Right.
That didn't look like anything.
I didn't what it looked like? It looked like a fucking alien. Like
none of that looked like Grim Reaper.
And I remember as a kid thinking that. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. And it still doesn't.
I know the show came out after this movie, but I feel like the people who made Aqua Teen Hunger Force saw this movie, saw that tattoo, and made that heavy metal chicken thing that like came through the future. That was definitely
his Grim Reaper tattoo.
This gecko, gecko,
tribal gecko,
barbed wire, a gecko, and then that's always chasing.
And that was another thing about Joe Mantegna being unhip and out of touch. He's like, what's with you guys in the tattoos? Like, what? Who are you?
Yeah.
What is your deal?
Before
are you
that,
cool?
he's like, hey, pinheads, get ready for some blah, 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 blah. And then he's like telling.
He turns into an 80-year-old man. He turns into like an 80-year-old war vet.
I was waiting for him to be like, get out of my radio station.
Hey, punks. Smoking cigs. Hey. You broke my bud.
I feel bad that Michael McKean, right? Michael McKean, the guy
amazing actor.
Was in this movie.
I love Michael McKean. And yes, I agree. I feel bad that he's in this movie too. Probably least favorite scene of the movie. He's in the closet and he opens the door with his tongue.
It took too long.
And
they
filmed that shit and they got it. They let that scene happen.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Okay, cut. Michael, just word. It was great. More tongue.
Yeah, we're gonna need to have a zoom in cut.
That's gonna be a quote. That is a quote from this episode. Michael, more tongue.
More tongue. Yeah, that was so gross. It was disturbing. You heard it was like early onset ASMR.
Ugh.
Early days of ASMR.
And they just kept pulling him from his like ponytail the entire time around on that chair. I was just like,
and what was with him calling everybody babe? Did you notice that?
It was so weird.
Whatever it was.
And then what's with Brendan Fraser? I mean, when he made that speech in front of everyone, I mean, you could have stopped at D&D and all that stuff. You didn't have to say you ate your boogers.
Yeah.
And why is the word booger in this movie? It's just like booger, butt munch. We were talking. I mean, it's just
because we said in the beginning, man, this was aimed for 13-year-olds.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It was like, what are these?
David Arquette calls the guy a bozo deluxe. That guy's a bozo deluxe.
And then like what they order, like what they demand.
A football helmet with cottage cheese in it, dude.
Yeah.
No one should ever eat cottage cheese ever.
It's like the explanation is like, yeah, we could then just like claim insanity. It's like, no, or you could just claim that you're dumb and stupid. Like,
yeah,
I hate you. Like they have the wherewithal to like when they're up on the ceiling. What were they trying to do when they went up on the ceiling to try to break in? The girl knocks out Pip, and then Brendan Fraser thinks off of his head, off the top of his head, let me drop the bag down to hold the door from shutting.
Smartest move.
Smartest part of the movie.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's too smart.
That Airhead wouldn't have done that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What else to say? I feel
I'm looking at quotes from this movie,
much.
And usually there are
There's
things
a sex
to say.
scene in this movie. Why?
Sort of.
Well, they're like,
oh yeah, sort of. Yeah.
You know.
and Kramer was behind. Like, how did he end up behind the couch?
And
this guy was crawling all throughout this.
And no one saw him.
No one saw or heard.
No one heard him.
He's like 6'3".
How big is this duck?
Giant are these vents in the 90s? Vents
90s ducks
huger in the 90s. 90s
Massive.
vents were huge, man.
They took up so much space in an office. They're like, this office would have another 2,000 square feet if it wasn't for these tin knockers.
We got to make these vents big enough for people to crawl through them. So
just in case there's like
a
hostage situation.
bigger vents. It's gonna be really metal.
Yeah.
Bigger vents.
And then the freaking FBI guy who hands a gun. Like, first of all,
Totally
he goes up in the ceiling and like they give him a gun. Like, if they got up in the ceiling and nobody knows that they're there, why aren't they just going down in the damn duck?
I hate that scene. Hate it. Because when that gun falls and it just starts shooting everywhere.
Yeah.
No one shoots into the building. Not one single cop in this film is just like fires back. Instead, what happens is Brendan Fraser runs out there with a gun. Like you said, Steve. It's just like, what are you trying to do? It's just like
he kept running out with the gun, flailing the gun around,
jumping around.
This would have been taken out.
But I had to see Steve Buscemi give the finger one more time. I was so
he was a big.
Oh my God, his like when he's like,
yeah.
What was the? That's what I'm saying. Like Steve Buscemi was too smart for this movie. He's like, I don't know what does my character do?
When did Reservoir Dogs come out?
Like his character
92.
does nothing. His character's only part of this movie was getting the toy guns. That's it.
And molesting girls. Like there was that one scene where he just grabs
terrible
girlfriend, just grabs her because that assault was okay in the 90s.
Yeah,
assault and racism and giant vents.
Oh God, racism.
The FBI guy had the best lines though. Talking about
he was in a different movie.
He was in a different movie, but
he was in Die Hard too.
Was he?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay. Oh yeah. No, he goes like, my wife found my underwear had one teeny little, what is it? Teeny stain in it. Thought I started World War III.
The fact that he had to read those lines.
And then what's his name was waiting on the phone, like just listening to this as he's trying to get.
He's complaining about his wife,
Funyuns and ice cream, and like just like I guess he had an anxiety attack to the point where he got so hungry that he needed to like eat all this stuff. But again, where is he in comparison to where the damn middle of the studio is?
All I know is he would have been making so much noise that they would have found out that he was around.
Yeah.
Again,
I would be, if I was him and I'm like on the thing and I get up and I see a cop, like, get me out of here now.
Yeah. Why did he want to stay in there?
We're going to send you in with a real machine gun that you've never used before, and you're going to save the world. Like, why not just send another person in that is trained to go through ducks? Like, no, you're going to send Kramer back in, who can't even walk. Apparently, he just crawls the whole time. They're like, this guy, we can't have him walking around too much. He just needs to crawl.
I just want to point out a couple of things before we put this thing to the test, because I think it's that scene where Brendan Fraser wipes his butt with the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He went for it.
He went for it.
That was intense.
Yeah.
That's one scene that I do remember, like when I saw this movie, being like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like that was out of hand. And but it doesn't matter. He signed it.
Exactly. Yeah. He signed it. Like you're fucked, man. Now
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's just
ripped it up.
Yeah. And they're like, if you don't lip sync, then the deal's over. It's just like, seriously, just keep the deal. Let them not sing. It doesn't matter. Obviously, whatever these people do, nothing matters in this movie. They go to jail. Maybe.
They get out after 3 months, and apparently, what's his name is now a manager.
He's their manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And then I feel like, Michael McKean, I feel like there's a line that he has in here where he like sums up the feeling of this movie, and he says, he goes, all right, I know you guys think I'm a dick cheeseburger or whatever. I don't know. I feel like he was just like, I don't know how many more days are on this shoot. We gotta go. I was in Spinal Tap, for God's sakes. Like, what the fuck? Oh man.
I don't know. Let's wrap this up.
People,
I'm talking about it.
Manny, Steve, we're here at the end where we put this to the test to see, did Airheads from 1994 pass the nostalgia test and is still good? Is it just nostalgic, or is this movie one of those pop culture parts of our lives where we just go, we made a huge mistake and this is not good? Manny, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, fuck this movie. This is now taking over. Take your pants off and jacket.
Wow.
I think it's not as bad as Three Musketeers. Okay.
Okay.
Three Musketeers, not the
The
movie,
candy bar,
but
not
the
the
candy
movie.
bar
Yeah.
is fucking terrible because it's just nougat. And what
Yeah.
the fuck is nougat? Right?
Yeah.
Now, I was going to say it stays nostalgic. It's 90s. No, because when it stays nostalgic for me, it still makes me feel good. This movie didn't make me feel good. It made me mad, angry, and confused. And I don't like it. So put it the fuck away next to your Three Musketeers and get out of the vents. Okay? That's all I've got to say.
Get out of the vents.
Get out of the vents. Okay. Manny.
It's good.
Is Airheads bad? All right. Steve.
It stays nostalgic for me because I still remember liking it as a kid, so that's where it's gonna live in my brain forever. It could have been a commercial, like it could have been just the trailer. You know what I mean? They didn't need to make the whole movie. They could have made just the trailer,
That's true.
and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
It would have been fine.
It would have been just.
It could have been. It could have been a half an hour show on MTV.
It could have been. It could have been a Funyuns commercial.
Yes.
Could have been a Mentos commercial.
Oh,
those were
this
showing
was a
in the 90s.
Mentos commercial because nothing happened to them. There were no consequences.
Exactly. They just didn't do the
At
scene
the
where they
end.
popped the Mentos.
They should have.
That's
They
the
did
only thing
everything
this was missing. This could have been a Mentos commercial. All they needed to do. They product placed everything else,
I know.
and they
They did
could've,
everything else.
right
They
at
should
the
have done
end.
Mentos.
Right before they got arrested.
Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah, it would have made more sense. Would have made a lot more sense.
oh man, this is hard. Not because I think it passes. It doesn't. But is it nostalgic? I actually own this movie.
Wow.
Damn. Coming out.
Because I, liked it, I guess, when I was watching it, but I've never watched it since I bought it. Yeah, there's a lot of problems in this movie. The just the overall language being used. There's so many horrible, like the degrading words. The music is terrible in terms of their song sucks. That's the song that they held up a radio station to play. It was really bad. And they were
Side
like,
note, did they have other songs?
I don't know. The idea was like they were
I
clowning
think
on
they just
Jimi
had the one.
Hendrix and like all these guys. They were like, and even 90s grunge, like when they made all those things, it was like, your song sucks. And you're making fun of like Nirvana? Like that. No, we're not going to have that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is, to me, it's not nostalgic to me. Is it bad? I don't know if it's bad. It's just meh. Like I'm not going to like probably ever watch this. And I don't think it's nostalgic, right, man? It didn't make me happy or feel good.
All right.
It made me
That's it.
sad for the people like
Yeah,
that.
it made me cringe. Like it was cringy. Like
It was definitely cringy.
I was okay watching it for the first like 45 minutes, and then after that, I'm like, okay, all right, this has to end.
Yeah. So that's it. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Airheads.
I don't want to hear who disagrees with us.
Well,
'cause
TikTok blew. It was
if you
blowing up.
disagree with us, you got to go watch it.
I-
TikTok hasn't seen it. Like those people who voted probably are still in like Steve's mindset where like that movie was fucking killer.
I'm
haven't
going
seen
back
it.
right now. It's 13 yeses and 0 nos for Airheads passing the nostalgia test on
Whoa.
TikTok.
Yeah,
That's
well, they need to go see it.
overwhelming.
Whoa.
They need to
It's
go see it.
overwhelming.
Need to
Let's see,
rewatch.
people
You gotta go
have
see it. It's a terrible
commented.
movie. So many other movies that are better.
Wow, Billy responded to this. He says this movie kicks ass still. I watched it a few weeks ago and 100% passes the test.
Wow.
Billy, oh
Billy,
my god.
that
We should
might
call
take you
him.
down a notch on coming up on the next episode.
Do we call him up right now?
Sure. Let's go. Call him up.
Let's see.
I got to take a leak, but call him
Me
up.
too. Hold on. Let's see.
I will mention real quick while we're doing that,
Did you hear
we're
that?
waiting. I thought, so I like Hot Tub Time Machine. My niece watched it. She was like, none of that was good. I was like, you don't get it.
You don't get it.
Can you hear the phone?
Yeah.
He's not going to answer.
Well, it's late.
Okay. Oh yeah, Billy has a family.
If he calls you back,
And they're all
that's crazy.
but
Wow, Billy. We're gonna, I don't know, but everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Nostalgia Test podcast. Steve, once again, killing it. Thank you for being on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And everyone, share this episode with everyone you know. That's gonna help us.
Fucking watched it, and he's
a few weeks ago. Follow us on TikTok and
Billy
Instagram
can't read. Billy can't write. Billy doesn't know how to.
Billy was the original name for the song. I think that's what it was. I saw that. I read that trivia, and I guess Billy read it.
Billy doesn't know what good movies are.
Follow us at the Nostalgia Test on Instagram and TikTok, at Nostalgia Test on X. We're on Threads. We're all over. Hit us up on, and like us on, subscribe to the YouTube page as well at the Nostalgia Test and watch everything. This will be up on YouTube as well. What's up? And share this with your best friend or the people you don't like. I don't know. Just share it and share everything that we do on this on social media. We're trying to make a.
See you soon, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You're welcome.
All right, everyone. Peace.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter at Nostalgia Test and on Instagram at the Nostalgia Test. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on the Nostalgia Test.